Good evening. Hopefully you can hear me this time because I just think I spoke without turning the microphone on. So that might have helped a little. Thank you very much for joining us. Welcome to this week's Ask Jay. I'm Jay from JMC, your relationship coach, here to simplify those relationship struggles we have each and every day. Thank you very much for joining us this Wednesday as we're going to tackle a doozy. And this is not from any of the JMC family. For some of you know what I'm talking about when I say that. So we will get that covered in a few moments' time. So let's get into it. Thank you for joining us wherever you are. Good evening, Paul. There are we. Thanks for joining us, buddy. Good to see you, bud. Thank you for joining in. I hope you can hear me all right. The microphone, it's not saying the microphone's working, but I can see a microphone bouncing around, so it must be working. So thanks for joining us there, buddy. Let us know if you got a big thumbs up. If you can hear us, that would be fantastic. Where are we now? Let's just hit a couple of buttons here because there we go. That's what we want. Yep, no worries. Cool. What is happening, what's been happening in your world? Well, we're finally in December. Oh, yes. Are we what in December? And what do you, God, December. Really? December already? It's nuts. Absolutely nuts. Crazy. Can't believe we're here. This is absolutely gone. But, won't say it. But you know what I'm talking about? No, you don't. That's right. I'm trying to adjust a couple of things here anyway, so that's all right. Let's get that out of the way. Good morning, Sandy Archer, Spiritual Health. Welcome. I would say you're in the car on the way to work, so obviously you can hear me because you've said hello. So thank you very much for joining us from the old US of A. And hope your son gets home. Hope he's enjoyed his time with his mum for Thanksgiving, which is a wonderful thing. So, yeah, so if you are watching or joining in, there's a few of you on at the moment. By all means, drop a comment, say g'day, let us know that you're here. Wow, what have we got this week? It's amazing how many questions we're getting asked coming in leading up to Christmas. I did have actually another question lined up. Didn't say it last week. I was actually talking to someone today that I was going to use it for tonight, but I changed it. I'm going with the original question I was going to talk about because someone else sent a similar question this afternoon while I was in a session. So it was like, wow, okay, this seems to be happening a lot. I suppose it's a year of COVID times, am I right? That, so many people can't go out and meet each other and so forth. And, I forgot to actually introduce me. There I am. Jayson Mair, relationship coach. Just needed to know that sort of thing. Anyway, as I was saying, we have, it's COVID times. COVID times in relationships. It has been crazy. It's, wow, what can I say? I guess because a lot of people, this question is going to relate to a lot of people, because a lot of people haven't been able to get out and about and meet people for mingling and so forth. There's a lot of relationships starting online. Maybe they're locked up, and they can't get out, like we were early in the year, 5 Ks down the road, might be the next suburb, might be the next state, might be the next country. So this is a good time to approach this. I got this question a couple of weeks ago, and I'd already answered it with the girl, but I wanted to. I was going to address it earlier, and then I thought, no, I'll leave it till after Christmas. But then I've had 2 more people in the last week and a half mention it, and one person also sent another one in this afternoon. So I'm like looking at that now. So very similar question. So it works out perfect timing. So, yes, thank you very much for joining us. Okay, where were we? All right, we're going to hit up the question first. Let's just jump into the question because this might be a quick show. We don't have any people interacting. If you don't want to interact, fine. If you want to interact, or even if you're watching the replay, by all means, drop a question in the comments, and if I don't answer it, if you're on the live show, put live. If you're watching the replay, well, you don't have to put live. If you're live, I can see you here. But if you're watching the replay, put hashtag replay, just so I know you if you watched the live or replay, and then I will answer your questions for you or comment on them as well. So, because I appreciate you. You know, you're jumping on there. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications so I can come to you personally. And if you've sent a question, you'll know, because you'll get that little ding and a little alert on your phone and on your email saying that, yeah, I'm coming on. So, yes. So, anyway, babbling on long enough now. I can't talk properly, so let's go on. And it's water tonight. It's water. So, it's not alcohol induced either. So, would have thought. Okay, let's get to today's question. Funnily enough, I seem to know a little bit about this myself. So let's get straight into the question of tonight's show. There it is. Me and my boyfriend have been... We have... me and my boyfriend have had an intense love for each other. We have not met in person yet since it all started online, but we have video called, etc. a lot. Sometimes I'm worried once we meet, we would not like each other. We won't like each other. Sorry, I've changed the font and yeah, not too easy to understand. Sometimes I'm worried once we meet, we won't like each other. Last night, I panicked and cried over this. What do I do, or what to do? From Miss OS, Overseas Love. Miss OL, sorry, Overseas Love. Someone has altered my graphics because I had that all set up because it was... Okay, doesn't matter. Anyway, she's having a long distance love affair. It's actually in another country with someone, and as I said before, this is not in relation to anyone, in relation to any of the JMC family. For those who might be thinking, hang on a sec, this sounds too familiar. No, it's not. This is an actual person that emailed this to me, so, and asked this question. So let's get into it. So, long distance love affair, huh? Now, to give you a bit more details, these guys have seen each other for 9 months. They do a lot of online calls, Zoom calls, house party calls, and so forth. So they have seen each other. They know they are real. They're not a love scam or cat fishing, dog fishing, goat fishing, or any other sort of fishing whatsoever. So, yeah. For those who are thinking that, get that out of your head anyway. It's interesting though. You know, it's in a year, as I said, with Dimension 2020, and you know, not being able to connect to people like we normally do. This is the new way it's going. Look, there's a lot of online love affairs been going on for a while. You know, you've got all the apps, Tinder, Bumble, RSVP. It was an RSVP, plenty of fish, so forth, blah blah blah. There's plenty of online dating dating apps out there, and a lot of people don't get to meet in person. Some will stick to the apps. Some are, you know, in another state or too far away to catch up with each other. This happens to be another country, and it does not involve Australia. That's all I'm going to say. It's two countries that do not involve Australia whatsoever. So don't judge the person because they're having that, because you know what? Sometimes you can get a connection with someone. Let's put it this way. The divorce rates in Australia and most countries, US, UK, and so forth, back in 2017, the divorce rates, let alone in Australia, were 52.7% of divorces, marriages in a divorce, first marriage. Second marriage was like 55.6, and it was nearly close to about 58-59% of third marriages end in divorce. So that's normal. Meet someone, you know, in person, get together and so forth, get married, and that. and they're ending in divorces. So you just got to think, well, is there another way of doing it? You know, some cultures, they do the, never meet the person before you marry them. You rock up and meet them. There's a TV show about it, Love at First Sight. Don't believe Love at First Sight is actually how these other countries do their meeting at love, getting married on the first sight, like the Indian cultures and so forth, because it's not like that at all. Just for those who think, oh yeah, married at first sight, just like that. No, it's not reality. So just get that sunk in and clear. Here we go. Sandy, cat fisher or dog fisher? Exactly. And I apologize for the sniffles. I'm still struggling with fever, but please forgive me for that. So, yes. Sorry, I just noticed that was a little bit different what they're doing with the the banner. Okay, that's cool. Excellent. So, let me just get into it. Let's get to tip number 1. Let's discuss tip number 1, which is, has it been more based? Oh, geez. Where did I learn to spell? Has it been more based on a sexual tension or talk or connection? Okay, so what happens when I type these things a little too quickly? I'll take the blame for it. Sexual, S-E-X-U-A-L, not U-L-A. Sexual. Maybe I was talking a little bit of French. Has it been more based on sexual tension or sexual attention or sexual talk or a bit of connection? What I mean by that is, as most of us know, a lot of people who would get on online dating and so forth, it's all about the sexual tension. You start talking and everything else. And I'm sorry if some people are listening that they've got their kids listening. This is not a kid's show, but some of these kids are a little bit older. They know who I'm talking about. They're probably having a laugh right now in the car as they're listening. So what I'm referring to is when people get together, they start talking and then they start talking a little dirty. Ooh, what are you wearing? And what if I came over there and this is what I do? You're going to have a bit of that. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people do it, some people don't. And that's nothing wrong with it either way. But if it's based more, so there's a lot more sexual tension, sexual talk. Nice accent. Thank you. Thank you very much. Did you like that? I don't know if that was French or Irish with a little bit of German, maybe. Who knows? So, if it's more based on sexual tension, that's where you're going to have some issues. You really need, if you're going to do the long distance thing and you're going to do the video calls and everything else, really get to know the person. Really talk to them about it. Talk about their likes and dislikes. Ask them questions. Talk about, really get to know them. The sex is fine, but it makes it harder if you start getting all sexual or sexuella, and it's going to be a couple of months, couple of weeks, couple of years before you see each other. You don't want to be like basing all that, because then even if you wanted a bit of sexual tension to be there when you meet, you've used it all up before you got there, and you've built up the imagination in your head of how good it's going to be because of what you've been doing on the phone, and you've ruined it. And you're going to get there and go, no, that's not how we've been having sex, and now we're having it in person, and it's not matching what I'm talking about. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess it was nice knowing you for all that time, and that's what will happen. Look, there's a small percentage of people that are not going to do that, and that is great, and that's how it should be. But if you're worried about it, it's best not to go that far. Have a little bit of self-respect, have a little bit of self-control, and just say, you know what? We're not going to go down the sexual path. I'll have a little bit of flirtation and we talk stuff, but we don't go there. Hold off. Trust me, it'll be worthwhile when you get there at the end anyway. Tip number 2, how much of yourself do you really show? And I don't mean body. Okay? What I mean of how much of yourself do you show, what I'm meaning is how much of you, how much of your personality, how much of your lifestyle. This day and age, it's not hard to be able to show people a part of who you really are that you know not a lot of people would get through a long distance, over the online or over the phone. Meaning, if you're going to work, talk to them when you get at work or something. Show them around your work. Get there a little bit early and show them around a little bit of work if you're allowed to. Of course, there's some jobs that don't allow you. And look, this is after you've built some trust. You need to build a shitload of trust before you start doing that. But you'll know with the person, you'll go, you know what, we're at that level. Show them around your house. You don't have to give them your address if that's something you're worried about. You don't have to give them your address straight away or whatever else. But show them bits and pieces of your house. Talk to them at different times of the day. If you're not feeling well, you're in a bit of a bad mood, maybe have a chat to them. Get them. Don't put on the my hair's all perfect, my makeup's all perfect, my outfit's all perfect, and that's all he ever sees, or she, because you're building up a false sense of security. Don't be afraid to see them without makeup if they wear makeup. Don't be afraid to show yourself if you've got your hair's out of control, or you've just woken up and you get a little bit of sleep in your eyes and you're giving you safe. Don't do it while you're on the toilet, unless that's how long the trust has been going, and then you're talking on the toilet next thing and they don't even know because you've got the camera up close. Just saying, not saying that's ever happened to me or anyone I know, but I'm just saying, be careful. But at the end of the day, you just really need to, if you're afraid they're not going to like you when you get there, you need to show a lot of you. And I don't mean body. Get your filthy minds out of the gutter, people. I'm not talking about boobs, tits, and ass and everything else. I'm talking about you as a person. If you got friends there, depending on how long the relationship is, introduce them to friends. Get them and say, you're on the phone, you're like, hey, this is so and so, and this is so and so, this is the girl I was telling you about, and you do that. You don't have to, but at least then they get to see your friends, they get to see you. And also the other thing where that does too is it actually makes you understand, not believe. I was going to say believe. Well, I guess if you have any doubts, it'll help you believe, but it'll give you a bit more sense of security that you actually are, being real, and you're not afraid to share who you are with your partner, and you're not afraid to introduce them to your friends, and you're not afraid to introduce your friends to them. Now, yes, it's a bit hard because they're not in the same place, but they will still see it. And if they hear that you're talking about this guy or this girl all the time, they'll be like, well, might as well see what he's like. And if he's there, or they're part of the conversation, you might be sitting around at home having a couple of drinks, or you might be at a bar or something. Pull it out. The phone, that is, nothing else. And have a chat for a couple of minutes. You might be at a restaurant and you finish dinner and you're sitting down, or you're waiting to order and stuff. You're waiting for friends. Have a chat. Pull them out and have a chat like they're just there with you. If you want them to be a part of your life, they need to see you in the making. They need to see you with friends, and they need to see you out. They need to see you, when you're tired and falling asleep at night because you're stayed up late, or you're hungover or whatever. Don't be afraid to show who you are, because you're worried that you get there. Now, the only reason that person is not going to like you when they get there is there is something you're not telling. So don't be afraid. Talk about things like, excuse me for a second, your likes and dislikes. And I mean serious, not like, I like Married with First Sight is a TV show, and I like How I Met Your Mother, and I like Queer Eye for a Straight Guy, and yeah, that's about it really. I like all those shows. No, tell them the embarrassing shows, tell them the funny stories, tell them the things that really are you. Because the more they get to know about you, the more they connect with you. The more they connect with you and get to know you and like you, or even love you. And I know that this lass told me that she really, they really have said they love each other, and he has done things for her and from a distance and sent her things and so forth. That has like blown her away. She's like, wow, just nothing like she's ever experienced before. And he's the same. So that's where you really get that connection, but you really need to be who you are and get to let them to see who you are. So don't be afraid to do that. And tip number 3, because I've babbled on about enough on that. Have you asked the real questions? What he wants, you want. Don't be afraid to say, I don't, I've had clients in the past, they've got with someone and they've said, you know what? I'm not having kids. So if you want someone who wants kids, nope. Excuse me. Nope. I'm not having kids whatsoever. Or I don't want to get married, or I just want to get to know someone and be with someone. Don't be afraid. If you wanted to test if your boundaries are correct and if you want the right boundaries and the right, if you want to know this relationship is going to last, you need to express your beliefs, your values, and tell it the way it is. Because you're afraid of doing it when you meet someone in person, because you're like, well, if they're going to find out, they might run. Well, this person can't run. They're not here yet. They're in another state or town or country, or they're in another place. So don't be afraid to be you, and don't just front on. Let him see your side on. If you've got a big nose, stick your head on the side, go, look at this. Look at this nose, huh? Look at this. It's like a freaking ski jump. Look at these ears. It's like a truck driving down the highway with its doors open. Don't be afraid. You might have one shoulder higher than the other, or you might have an ugly big toe or something like that. If you could show them all those things and they still are going to hang around, well, then you must be doing something bloody right. And hey, it's okay. It's okay for people to realize, to see your darker side and your sad side or your emotional side, because that's who you are. The problem with a lot of people when they move in with each other, is they don't realize what they get themselves in for. It's easy to see someone for a couple of hours a day and whatever else, but to live with them, you see how the bedroom is, you see how the bathroom is and stuff. Don't be afraid to show that. Walk past and go, oh, yeah, the bed's a bit of a mess this morning. That's how it is. All the things. Be as open as you want. There was a radio station here in Australia a few years ago who used to have, it was a dating night they had. So once a year they'll have this, everyone would go to this bar at the casino, and they would talk and they would rock up. And they had the worst thing on their chest. So they had to rock up with their worst trait or their worst, whatever it was, and just say, it might be, I'm a snorer, or I'm a farter, or I like smudging peanut butter all over my body. I don't know, whatever it was. And no, none of that for me. But you know what I mean. So you get the worst part out of the way. Everything else on top of that is an added bonus. You're like, well, he likes a bit of peanut butter on his nipples. You might be someone who likes licking peanut butter off of nipples. Who knows? Not my place to judge. But people have unusual things about them. Be open with it. You get, if they're still sticking around after you told them that, he's a keeper or she's a keeper. That's what I'm just saying. So just make sure, as I said, we'll go over those tips quickly for the latecomers that have jumped in. Thank you for joining us, for jumping in tonight. Has it been more based on sexual tension, talk, or connection? So have you actually been talking about your life and each other and that, and not just about, oh, what are you wearing tonight? And what am I going to do when I take you to bed, when I finally see you, and stuff like that. If it's more based on that, the normal connection, you're going to change that stuff around, because otherwise it's going to be a complete disaster. You guys are going to meet, you're going to shag like rabbits, and then they're going to go off and you're never going to see each other again. the sex is great, maybe they'll stay. But if it's based on sex, you don't want that. That's the problem. It's got, because at the end of the day, sex dies off. Connection doesn't. Hashtag connection. All right. So I said tip 2. Oops, where did that go? There it is. It's coming in, struggling to come in. How much of yourself do you really show? And I'm not talking about your body, but how much of your life? Don't be afraid to show as much of your life, your family, your friends, where you work, what do you do, your hobbies, how messy you are, how clean you are, by all means. Even have a smoke alarm go off. Smoke alarms, trust me, smoke alarms or alarms going off really, or slow internet, really tests people's, if you want to see something, what was it Bill Murray said once? If you want to really test someone if they're worth marrying, give them slow internet while traveling with them and see how they react. If you can cope with them the way they behave with that, everything else is a breeze. Now, I'm paraphrasing. I could get it wrong exactly, that whole thing, but it's along the lines of that. Okay? Fair enough. And as I said, tip number 3, have you asked the real questions? What he wants, what you want. Ask, explain. Don't be afraid to say what you are, your beliefs, your values, your structure, what you want, don't want. Now, you don't have to necessarily talk about planning the future, because you might talk about all that and you'll get to the point where you're like, oh, well, we haven't even met yet. So let's just, sometimes you've got to keep in the moment. A very special friend of mine, love her to bits, will say to me, don't think too far ahead. Just live in the moment. Live for today, live for tomorrow, and we'll go from there. But be honest. Also gives each other an out. If you say, well, look, if something happens, you get to a point where you're like, well, I'm not feeling it, or I've met someone and I really want to start something with it. Yeah, it's going to hurt. You don't want that to happen, but give them the chance, do that. Don't go, oh, well, I can sleep with other people here and he's not going to know about it, or she's not going to know about it. You're going to know about it. And I tell you now, it will get back to the other person. Yeah, they might be in another state, another town, or another country. It will get back to them somehow. Every person has one of these, right? Mobile phone. So photos can get taken, put up online. Then how are you going to explain it? Just saying. So just keep that in mind. Be honest. If you're gonna spend that much time building a relationship with someone on the other side of the planet or country or town, be as honest as you can. Otherwise, you're just wasting time. There are so many people out there that are wasting other people's time. Don't be one of them. Have some respect. Do it a little differently. If you want true connection, if you want the relationship last, I tell you now, if that all goes right, when you meet up with them, you're not going to go, oh, they look different in them. And also, see them in all sorts of light. See them in the bright daylight, and without filters and sunnies or masks, because you might be a person who likes great teeth, and then they turn up, they're like, oh, Jesus Christ, you're missing half your teeth, or whatever it is. Be as honest and open as you can. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying at all. So, as we go through, we haven't got many people commenting tonight, so I can't award the comment of the day show, because we haven't really got Paul saying good day and Sandy saying good morning and cat fishing, dog fishing, nice accent, and but no, that's okay. It's a quick show tonight. Not a lot of people around, a lot of people watching other things, so that's fine. What I will do tonight, though, is if you have a question in regards to you want me to answer one of your questions, you can find me there on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. If you're on YouTube, as I said, please subscribe and hit the bell if you want to hear the latest tips and relationship tips. You can also reach out to me at JaysonMair.com. That's it. So just keep that in mind. And as always, we will be back next Wednesday. We will be taking a break over the Christmas New Year period with some random videos, but we will be back next Wednesday at the same time. It is 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. I think it's about 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. in some parts of the US, and think we're about 9 or 10 a.m. in the UK. So by all means, don't be afraid to jump on and check us out. Thank you very much for watching. I will finish off with this statement. Excuse me. I heard this quote today, and it was part of a training I did. I will say thank you to Kat M. That's all I will say, because I don't know if it's her quote. Don't think it was, but I'm going to give her the quote title because I think it comes from a book, which I can't remember if she said this or not. And that is, you have a personality. You are not your personality. Say that again. You have a personality. You are not your personality. Think about that. Your personality is not necessarily who you are. Okay, you have one. So don't use your personality as a reason why you can't do stuff or you're not being who you are and so forth, if you know what I mean. Okay. So until next week, thank you very much for joining us. If you catch us on the replay, please, by all means, put your comments in the comment box. I will respond. So, because I appreciate each and every one of you coming on. Thank you again for Paul and Sandy for joining in. Well, I'd say Sandy/Mattio. Matty, thank you very much. Have a safe trip home, buddy. Pleasure to meet you. And until next week, thank you. Take care of yourselves. Love yourself before you love somebody else. And if I can find the right button, I'll hit it. There we are. Until next week. Adios, people. Bye-bye.